Ready? We're going to call to order the City of Keystone Heights City Council meeting. This is Monday, February 6th. It is 6 p.m. I'm going to ask that you join me in the invocation and pledge of allegiance. This evening, the invocation and pledge will be led by Pastor Melanie Firebaugh from Keystone United Methodist Church. If you'll stand, please.
If you'll pray with me. Gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you for the gift of this day. We thank you for the gift of living in such a beautiful place. Lord, we ask that you would bless all of our endeavors tonight, that you would give each member of this body wisdom and grace, and that you would give them the clarity and forethought to act in the best interest of everyone within our city, not just today, but in the future. Bless and protect them and grant them your favor, and help us with all of the things in our city that we would rather not see, to see them through not eyes of judgment or eyes of ignoring, but the eyes as you would take and see things, so that we may have your heart for every human who lives in our city. Lord, we thank you. In your name we pray, Jesus. Amen. If you'll please silence your cell phones and place your hands over your heart, let us now say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We have quite the agenda this evening, and so I'm going to share that as we move into our agenda, we will have public comments on a timer, and we're going to move a couple of things around so we can get some people moving through our building and out the door so they can go to their homes. Ms. Rakowski, will you call roll?
Mayor Lake.
Here.
Vice Mayor Hart.
Here.
Councilman Bobby Brown.
Here.
Councilman Tony Brown.
Here.
Councilwoman Thompson. Here. You have a quorum, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. We have a presentation this evening. We're continuing with our recognition of people who make an impact in our community and have done it for a period of time. And so I would like to ask the ladies from Answers Resource and Health Facility to come up. And council, if you will come down, we will acknowledge their impact. All right. Well, we've been doing this now for some months, and I'm really delighted to bring this group of women up. You know, I call us sisters in the trenches because we work with people who may not come from the same places that some of us come from. And so over time, we've done a lot of work together, and I just want to recognize the work you have done and are continuing to do. And so I have a proclamation for you. Whereas Answers Health and Resource Facility began in 2011 when Joanna Weldon realized women and families in our community needed compassion and needed someone who could see their worth regardless of circumstance. And whereas Mrs. Weldon and her staff have stood with many families as they walk through difficult days, and whereas Beat Girls Club is a weekly outreach program at Keystone Heights High School which meets with young women to recognize their value and help find purpose in their lives. And whereas Answers offers life skills education, which participants can earn rewards like gas cards, diapers, and wipes. And whereas these classes can be taken at Answers facilities or on personal devices. And whereas Answers offers pregnancy tests, which can provide results as early as 7 to 10 days after conception. And whereas Answers has limited obstetrical, I knew I was going to stumble on that word, okay? Obstetrical ultrasound to confirm uterine pregnancy, viability, and gestational age. And whereas Answers also offers HIV and limited STD testing. And whereas the City of Keystone Heights and its residents are thankful for Joanna Weldon's continued commitment to families in our community. And whereas the City of Keystone Heights and its residents recognize and appreciate the hours of care and compassion Joanna Weldon and her staff pours into our community. And whereas the City of Keystone Heights and its residents commend the leadership of Joanna Weldon for her steadfast presence in our community. Now, therefore, be it resolved that by the authority vested in me as the mayor of the City of Keystone Heights, and on behalf of the City Council, I, Karen Lake, hereby proclaim Monday, February 6, 2023, as Answers Health and Resource Facility Day. Council, I present you with a proclamation. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?
No.
Motion passes 3-1. You didn't vote, Tony. What are you voting? You said yes. Motion passes 4-1. I do want to present you with a proclamation, and I also have something else that I want you to have, and that's the key to the city. So I present this with you. And we're on a tight schedule, but if you have a couple of words you'd like to share. Okay? A couple words?
Yes. I just want to thank the city, our council. This is where I grew up, and so the honor of being able to hold this key in my hand and the recognition of the work, not of myself, I can assure you of that. To God be the glory in every single situation that we've gotten to be a part of in regard to the women, the men, the families in our community. We are seeing miracle after miracle happen each and every day at Answers. We'd love to have you come and visit us, share more with you, and do more work together for the city. Thank you.
You're welcome. Are you taking a picture, Ms. Mikowski? So everybody squeeze in a little bit closer.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Okay. We are to public comments. Are there any public comment cards, Ms. Rakowski?
Yes, Madam Mayor. First, I have Mr. David Kirkland.
If you'll all state your name, if you're coming up, please state your name for the record.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and council members. For the public record, my name is David Kirkland, and I reside at 7266 Southeast 2nd Place, Stark, Florida, 32091. As I stated in my letter emailed to each of you on January the 16th, it has and continues to be my pleasure to serve the citizens of Keystone Heights and the City Council since 2009 as a board member of the Keystone Heights Airport Authority. It is also an honor to serve as chairman of the board of directors since January 2015. Special thanks to each of you for the time that you took to meet with me in person or speak with me by phone to discuss the appointment you made to Seat 2 of the Keystone Heights Airport Authority. I'm still disappointed with your decision because neither I nor Mrs. Searcy, our airport manager, was ever contacted for a review of applicants or recommendations, as had always been done in the past. The greater concern I have is during our conversations with each of you, none of you could explain how the new appointee was more qualified than the person presently occupying that seat, especially since that person oversees 2,400 plus acres of silviculture. Even more concerning is some of you voted for Mr. Seamer because you were upset with Mr. Richard because he left DRMP, the city's engineer record. I'm puzzled as to why you would punish someone for accepting the job of a lifetime to better take care of his family. A couple of you shared that you got a call from our county commissioner recommending Mr. Seamer, and apparently that swayed your vote also. Sadly, none of these are even related to the seat and its responsibilities. In my letter, I stated your decision. Am I up already? No. Oh, okay. In my letter, I stated your decision was unconscionable and embarrassing, and I believe that even more. because the most important criteria was ignored, and that's who is the best qualified applicant to fill the seat tasked with natural resource conservation. You had a very qualified person who this council originally appointed in 2015 and reappointed on subsequent occasions. Yet for unrelated reasons previously mentioned, you appointed someone else with no civiculture experience. I'm making a public request to you to do the right thing. However, what's the most disappointing of all is that while there is a remedy, none of you said to me that you would have a motion or make a motion to reconsider and change your vote. But perhaps you might reconsider. So to better equip you in the future with future seat appointments, I will be recommending and bringing to you more information about the various assignments of each of the seats on the Keystone Heights Airport Authority Board, and I'll be proactively providing my input for your consideration. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Commando, can you look at the next public comment card and call that person up, please?
Yes, Madam Mayor. Next is Scott Fryer.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, council members, staff, and members of the audience. Scott Fryer, current Vice Chairman of the Keystone Heights Airport Authority. I reside at 7309 Southeast 2nd Place, Stark, Florida also, and that is in Clay County. What I'd like to talk about is our passion for the airport. You run for office, I believe, because of your passion. Mr. Richard has given us a lot of passion. I don't want to get into, I think I'm hurt personally that the council didn't study the background a little bit more. But we are passionate about our airport, and I can assure you Mr. Richard is very passionate. In years past, we had one of the prior city council members used to attend our meetings, and he always wondered why we were in the red financially. I wish he was still on the council because he would be pleased with where we've gotten today. We are in the black with our finances, and a large part of that is attributable to Mr. Richard in addition to the rest of the board. I liken what happened to the airport being a patient. And Mr. Richard was one of that airport's physicians. And without looking at the patient's history, you took one of the physicians away. And I, like Mr. Kirkland, would encourage you again to reconsider this. It's nothing against the appointee that you've made. This is more about Mr. Richard. What I fear is, with the hours and the times and the days that this man has sacrificed personally, not only with our civic culture, the trees, the environment on the airport, he's also worked with the Operation Outdoor Freedom, which is a hunting trip for wounded or disabled veterans. And I think he's been doing this for several years now. I can't remember the amount of years, but he's made a big difference. I don't know. I just, like I say, I'm afraid now we're going to have to hire a consultant, and it's going to be at a cost or a deficit to our funds. But anyway, as always, I appreciate the time you've allotted to me, for me to speak to the board, and I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Rakowski? Is there
Next,
any-
I have Miss Maria Searcy.
My name is Maria Searcy. I live at 843 Southeast 58th Street, Keystone Heights. I am the airport manager. I don't have anything prepared this evening. As you all received my email back some time ago, probably somewhere, I don't even have it in front of me here, on the 12th of January. It was a pretty passionate email. I spoke exactly from the heart. Mayor, I told you the other day when we spoke that I take this lack very personally. You said that change is good. I, more than anybody, as well as the airport board, has adapted to change over the last almost 13 years. We do nothing but go through change, and it's all good. I look at change as an opportunity. This I cannot wrap my head around. As I stated in my email, and I stated to many of you, and Mr. Brown, when you and I spoke, something is different. Something different happened this time, and I don't understand why. We have always been given the consideration to be able to hear, for you to hear our opinions about how our business runs. We're out there every single day. Mr. Fryer, who's retired, is out there every single day. He's not paid a penny more than what the rest of you are paid. We are passionate about that airport, and it matters what happens and how we function. We celebrate our wins, and then we'll also work together as a team when we have missed opportunities. This is a missed opportunity that you all had. I asked you in my email that you have the time to make a consideration to rescind your vote, or at least discuss it. We didn't even get the consideration for you to put it back on the agenda so that we could get more than 3 minutes to talk. We've given everything to this city. You appointed a board so that you could run the city. We have done that and then some. This is something proud for the city to be proud of our airport. We're there giving 150% every single day. And for you all not to give us the consideration, or even the chairman at the last city council meeting to stand up and ask him what his thoughts were, you've always done that. The last 12 years, for some reason this year, you didn't. And I'm sorry. I'm sorry what's probably the things that are going to happen now. You know, I don't know. Again, I take it very personally, and this is so disappointing. Thank you.
Ms. Rakowski?
Mr. Chad Rashar.
Yeah, good evening. My name is Chet Allen Rashar. I reside at 4542 Southeast 3rd Place in Keystone Heights. City Council members and Keystone at large, I'm very concerned about the governance and the process for airport seat number 2, the decision that was made last month. Primarily, the lack of courtesy. After serving this role since summer of 2015, I actually interviewed for that position with Chair Kirkland. It was about a 1.5 hour long interview. He wanted to know why I was interested in that position. He wanted to understand what benefits, what co-benefits I could add to the board. And at that point in time, I explained to him what my interests were, and I conveyed to him that I'm a natural resource manager. I manage a lot of land across the state and now across the country for the largest TMO in the globe. My application was not even entertained during the January meeting. I'm dismayed, but not yet fully discouraged. Provided 8 years of service and thousands of hours dedicated to the airport, I would at least expect my application to be noted in public record. I took the time to type out and have the application notarized, for at least recognizing that effort would have been worth your consideration. Perhaps council operates much different than the airport board. I've learned to love and appreciate while steering the airport through strengths and gains in our development, while providing stewardship of the 1,200 acres of natural lands that surround the infield. We treat one another with respect, courtesy, and professional integrity. And that, you can see that very well aligned with our business practices. I would encourage this council to practice the same level of governance that the airport does. Thank you.
Are there any other comment cards?
I have none.
Thank you. We move to agenda item 3, public hearings.
Madam Mayor, I
resolution.
rise to a point of order. Your question is, what is the point of order? Point of order is I would like to speak under council comments at this time,
Under council comments at
Yes.
this time.
rather than changing the agenda. The purpose of wanting to speak is to make a motion to reconsider our vote of last month in seat 2. That will be my motion. I haven't made it yet, but that's why I'm asking to change the council comment order to myself at this point.
Mr. Commando, do I need to take a vote on being able to do that?
No, it's your decision on whether or not you want to go forward with taking something out of work. I mean, you can take it now or you can take it at the end of the meeting.
I'd like to make the motion while people are still here. That's the point.
Well, Steve?
The chair can make that determination, but I'm just letting you know I'm going to raise that issue.
That's fine, you can raise it when we get there.
Okay? Thank you.
We're moving to public hearings and resolutions and ordinances. Agenda item A under that item is ordinance 2023-600, solicitation of right-of-way. Is there a motion to read by short title?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. Is there a second? A second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, motion passes 5-0. Mr. Commando.
Ordinance 2023-600, an ordinance of the City of Keystone Heights, Florida, amending, updating, and restating in its entirety Chapter 11 Business Regulations, Article 1 Business Licenses, specifically Article 9 Soliciting, in order to prohibit certain activities upon public road rights-of-way, providing for severability, providing an effective date.
Are there any questions of staff regarding this continuation of maintaining right-of-ways? Any questions of staff? Seeing no questions, is there a motion to pass ordinance 2020? I'm sorry. Anyone here to speak to this item? Anyone here to speak to this item? Seeing none, bring it back to council. Entertain a motion to pass ordinance 2023-600, solicitation of right. Oh, I'm sorry. This one, were you bringing up county manager for this one as well?
No, Madam Mayor, we have adopted, or we have rewritten, basically adopted what the county had in their
Yes.
previous meetings, but he is here for a different agenda.
Okay, I just didn't want to make sure I wasn't leaving someone out who come here especially to speak to it. Okay, so I will entertain that motion.
I have a question.
Before you second it, let me ask Councilman Brown to ask the question.
My question is, what does this do to the boot drive for the fire departments, for the Clay County Fire Department? Will they be able to do the muscular dystrophy thing that they've been doing for years and years and years?
They will.
Okay,
All right, there is a motion. Is there a second?
second.
Thank you. All those in favor joyfully say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, motion passes 5-0. We're moving to item B. It's ordinance 2023-601, golf carts. We've been talking about golf carts.
I'm getting one.
You're getting one?
If this passes.
There are many in the room that might have golf carts here soon. Ordinance 2023, is there a motion to read by short title?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, motion passes 5-0. Mr. Commando.
Yes, Madam Mayor. Ordinance 2023-601, an ordinance of the City of Keystone Heights, Florida, amending Chapter 7 Traffic Code by creating Article 5 Golf Cart Regulations in order to require certain standards for the safe operation of golf carts upon public roads, providing for severability and providing an effective date.
All right. Having put it in posture, is there any questions from staff? We asked questions last meeting, but if there are still questions, this would be the time. Any questions? Seeing no questions, is there
Public hearing.
public hearing? We love them. Is there anyone here to speak to golf carts? Golf carts? Seeing none, move it back to council. Is there a motion to approve ordinance 2023-601?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. Is there? Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, motion passes 5-0. I wish we had written in a commission thing for all the local golf cart dealerships. We could have gotten a little something there.
I'm a little disappointed that Speedy didn't come up with
I know.
I know, I am too. Speedy. We just legalized your illegal doings. I'm not hearing you jumping up and down saying thank you. And the Clay County Sheriff's Office, you're welcome.
Thank you. Anybody want to go for a ride?
Exactly. He's parked out back, okay?
Well, sort of, it's in my garage. Just walk over.
Okay, and so to Councilman Hart's points, the reason I didn't approve what you asked to do is because we are moving an agenda item up to this time. We'll be discussing under new city business impact fees, and it's going to be presented by County Manager Howard Wanamaker and Troy Nagel. If you guys would like to come up, that would be awesome. We do want you home by 9.
Okay, yes, ma'am.
Must be curfew.
Thank you. Madam Mayor, council members, thank you for giving us this opportunity to brief you on the interlocal for impact fees throughout the county. Wildan Financial Services did a study last year. They began early spring and finished up here at the end of the year. We had multiple engagements and meetings. We had a workshop with the community. We met with key stakeholders, which included NEFPA and contractors there within the county with regards to these impact fees. Wildan Financial Services did a study using both state and federal data with regards to growth. Our county is growing. This growth was projected out to 2045. And within the study that you all should have, it was completed December 8th of just last year. And within it is type and size of both residential and commercial throughout the county and the appropriate fees that would be charged for that there. The fees would go to 6 main areas. It is public safety, law enforcement, governmental facilities such as jail and other such as that, parks, regional park, libraries, and then cultural, libraries and cultural. With that, within page 5 of the study lists out those particular areas, like again, by type and square footage for the fees that would be charged. The board voted on December 13th to approve 5-0 these impact fees moving forward, and they go into effect June 1st of this year. I brought Troy with me. Troy has been integral, along with the county attorney, in navigating through this very difficult subject. And when you talk about data and predicting the future, the bottom line is there are new residents moving in, new businesses, new commercial businesses moving into our county. That puts a strain and burden on our services that we already provide. For instance, within public safety, it's the call volume and response time as an example, and just to focus on public safety. With that being said, I stand before you to answer any questions that you may have, and hopefully I can use my resident expert at Troy and working with the Wildan on this study.
Thank you. Council, any questions for the county manager, Troy? Any questions? Yes, sir.
We have 2 areas of major development in the near future in our city limits. And a concern is mine and some other people in the area with impact fees. It's always been said it's like $15,000, and I heard the other day it was going up to 30. But looking at what you've presented to us, it's on a percentage of the square footage of the property, the building.
That is correct, yes,
That's
sir.
correct. Okay. My next question is how much of that revenue that's going to produce in Keystone, inside the city limits, going to benefit our community? I mean, the big thing always has been the north end, and I know that their resources are needed a lot up there, but we also need resources here. And I personally don't want to see all of it going that way. I like to see a lot of it staying right here with better, structures for not municipalities, but for the county and stuff like that.
Yes, sir. I think it also begins with the relationship that we have with Keystone and through the city manager and staff to ensure your needs are met with those services, sir. And these fees would help in that area. As an easy kind of analogy to kind of talk about, you talk about a fire station that's within the city. And you could say, okay, well, is that going to build another fire station within the boundaries of the city limits? Well, maybe, maybe not. Most likely it'll go, there's one projected to go in Penny Farms within the next 5 years. So when we have calls, it's mutual support when it comes to public safety. So when mishaps and accidents happen in the central part of the county, assets are pulled from the southern part of the county or northern part to augment those EMS services. So with the anticipation of the build within Penny Farms of a fire station and the apparatus and the firemen that are there and paramedics, will ease the burden of Station 11 here as an example. The other would be we're not allowed to use the impact fees to make up a gap that has grown over time within the county. So this is a really long discussion that was had in many of our meetings. It is the burden on services that are in addition of those new residents, new commercial businesses, and that. So the monies that you see within the study, that is what is covered. We were also asked to list out specifically what new items were going to be purchased, so on that burden. Those are listed very much in detail on there. Originally, it wasn't as detailed as the one that you have before you. And again, Troy can touch upon that. So I think for the residents that are looking at us from the community, those that live within Keystone, I guess the best thing I could say that this rising tide rises all ships, right, within the area. So it may not have a direct impact, but there will definitely be an indirect impact that's there, in my analogy of public safety as an example. We have parks and a park system. What was asked for us was to break out the regional park that is just right up the road on 21, as you all know, and that had just had a meeting today at 2 o'clock with the contractor. That project will complete by the end of the year, and you'll start to see dirt moving here by the end of the month. That being said, it was asked to break out from parks to cover the regional park. Now, again, the regional park isn't located within the boundaries of the city. I understand that. Mm-hmm. But there are mutual beneficents that will happen to this, right? Like people coming into the area that have to have a place to stay. People that come in the area, they need to eat. People that come in the area, they need to get gas. And that brings a revenue stream to all of us into our funds to help us out. And I mean, I know it's not specific, and I think if I asked Troy to give some more specifics, sir, maybe that can answer more of your question unless that's answered it.
I understand. Yes.
Okay.
Anything else?
No.
Nope. Anything?
Just to sort of go off on what Mr. Brown has indicated, I looked at your county resolution exhibits A through E, and there's really nothing proposed through 2027 for Keystone. Is that correct?
Do you remember Troy
Specifically for
Yeah.
Keystone?
Well, there's nothing specifically inside the city limits.
Okay. All right. Where I'm heading is Nexus. Looking at section 163, 31801, sub 3, sub G, it says the impact fee must be proportional and reasonably connected or have a rational nexus, and the benefits accruing to the new residential or non-residential construction. The new residential and non-residential construction that we're concerned with as city council is here in the city. Now, I think you've touched at that because it's the common good. Same concept is even if we don't have kids in school, you pay school tax, and even if you build a house and you don't drive much, you're still going to have to use the roads and pay for that, which I did, by the way, about 3-4 years ago. Thank you. So I'd like you to elaborate a little bit more on the nexus concept so that we have a record before we make a vote on this?
Yeah, I think it's the same thing that the county manager pointed out, and to go more in depth, the rational nexus is the fire department is being used by the residents of Keystone. So as we increase that fire service and we just build 8 new fire stations in the county, that means each fire station will take a lower volume of call, which means that you've got more response inside of Keystone from Station 11, from Station 23 that currently serve on a day-to-day
And more opportunity for backup in this area should we have a large fire.
Correct, sir, because we're going to add, the plan calls for adding 8 new fire stations in the county. So if currently you have 12, you're going to add 8 more to support everybody in the county. Same thing with the sheriff's, with law enforcement. You're going to have more vehicles bought, more, they're talking about adding more K-9 units, more SWAT, more response capabilities over the next years to support the growth. So if you don't do anything right now, then every day we add new people. That means there's less officers per capita to serve. By expanding the service, now you have, you're either maintaining or you're increasing your level of service to the citizens. Same thing with animal services on the government side, same thing with library and cultural, is if we can expand the services to the Keystone Heights Library, add another library somewhere else in the county, regionally perspective, it's more capabilities which serve all the citizens, not just those in the unincorporated area or those in the municipal
So
area.
your argument is the nexus is the common good for all, essentially.
Correct. So the things that we can't charge, for example, in Keystone, you have your own parks department. You maintain your own parks. So in the proposed interlocal, you're only asking to do 5 of the 6 fees. Now, you're still going to get a benefit of the parks, the community parks, because in the plan, we still have to build community parks and bring them to the county's level of standard to make sure we're serving the residents of that district, because we did district the community parks. However, because we can't tie the nexus directly to it, because you have your own parks department, that fee is not being asked to be charged. So I hope that answers your question, sir.
It does, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions? Ms. Thompson, Mr. Brown?
I just throw a plug. We desperately need a new library one day.
Yes, sir, I agree.
And the sheriff's annex wouldn't hurt either.
I don't know if I can do that one for you. That would be a conversation with her, sir. But yeah, I mean, to that point, there is administrative, part of this is administrative buildings to build in the county, so.
Excellent. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Regarding the form of the contract, I don't see a termination date or a right to cancel. Has there been any discussion about the term? How long is this going to go? Though it may be moot because we only have 2 parcels of land in the city that's probably going to be developed. Did I overlook that, council? The term? It's open-ended? Yeah. Okay.
And by all means, Mayor, council members, it can be adjusted. Yeah, I mean, that's what, we've been working with each municipality. If there was a particular sticking point, we can surely make an adjustment.
I would encourage that be looked at.
Okay, yes, sir.
Thank you. And we've said there are only 2 parcels for which this impact fee would apply. Mr. Wiggins is in the room. Do you want to come up? Do you have any questions for us? Any comments?
Joe Wiggins, 91 Branscombe Road, Suite 17, Green Cove Springs, Florida. Thank you for the opportunity. Longtime resident of Clay County, I understand there's a need for impact fees. It's just we as a community have to decide, well, what's that amount and what does it do to affordability, right? So where do we put the people that are just starting out in houses? And so this impact fee, I don't know how much they deducted for Parks and Rec, but if it adds $3,400 to a house less than 1,500 square feet, that plus the 7,000 school impact fee, plus the transportation impact fee, it's, and I'm not making a statement, I'm just saying this is something for all of us as a community, need to be aware of. It does affect the bottom line. The Parks and Rec, interesting enough, because I do represent the 2 properties, that's about the only thing that I think that I could do for the city if I did a private funded Parks and Rec. And then I would want, see if there's a way to get a concession for that. But if we're not paying it anyway in the city, then it's a moot point.
I believe the number for us for a house under 1,500 was $2,500. Isn't that what we decided today when we looked at it?
If I may.
Yes, please.
So for a home under 1,500 square feet, total to the county is $3,387, and then you take off the $876 for the community park. So you're right around that 2,500 quick math number.
Yes.
I will, if I may, in addition to that, I will point out that in our ordinance, it does allow for low income, or if you qualify, to waive the impact fee totally. So that would be something that, you know, a builder, Mr. Wiggins, could submit to say, hey, we want to waive the impact fee, and if the person buying the house meets the criteria, we could waive the impact fee totally.
Just be careful with that, because that's not the school one.
Huh?
That's not the school impact fee.
No, I mean, the one from the, yes,
Right,
thank you,
when
sir.
you say that, I don't want
Yeah.
people to think that.
I appreciate the attorney correcting me. So the county side of it could be waived based on affordability.
Okay.
Can I clarify, is it waived or is it deferred?
Ours is actually a full waiver under this one versus what it was under the mobility fee.
Can I address that for just a moment, sir? It looks like you have a county impact fee coordinator. Would that be yourself?
No, sir, that would be Maria Haney.
Okay, and what criteria would Maria use to grant these waivers?
It's based on the ship housing level as far as and I'm not a ship expert or an economic, as far as that's concerned, but it's based on number of people in the house based on income. So there's a sliding scale.
Yeah, because the agreement looks like she has basically wide open discretion, and there's no reference to any outside sources to make that determination. I would like to see that in the contract as well. This has to do with the guidelines under what D, E, and F on page 4.
Yeah, I think that's in our ordinance, but I would let.
Is it?
It is in the county ordinance.
Is it? Okay.
On another hat, the ship attorney for the county, so.
Perhaps.
I figured he would probably know better than me.
It's based on the area median income, which is set by HUD every year for the region. So we fall within the Jacksonville region. And then Clay County has certain levels for very low
Okay.
to moderate income levels.
Just for our comfort, perhaps that could be incorporated by reference into the contract?
I'm sure it can. I mean, it's part
No
of the
problem.
ordinance anyway.
No
Yeah,
problem.
I'd like to see that too. That's it.
Okay, Joe, anything else? Okay, thank you. All right. Any questions of staff? Any questions of anyone? What is the will of the council? I just have one comment. I did talk to Chair Condon and asked her how she voted on this particular issue, number one at the county level, and also asked her how she felt it would work for Keystone from her perspective, and she highly encouraged us to enter into this agreement because she says, you know, as a municipality, we can say to the rest of the county that we've bought in and we're contributing and we're a team player. And so I offer those comments.
I move that we approve the contract with the areas that we discussed as modifications and grant to the city attorney the right to negotiate those issues and incorporate them into the agreement at his discretion. That's
Is
my
there a
motion.
second?
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, motion passes 5-0. All right, we take that one off the list. Thank you for coming. I'm glad you were able to make it down to help us sort it out. Let's quickly run through events. I say quickly. Event A is the July 4th Freedom 5K Run. You've seen the application. This is an annual event.
I make a motion, we accept this event.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, motion passes 5-0. Item B, graduation party with alcohol.
We have the resolution for that event application, Madam Mayor.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't see it numbered, so I went right over it. Resolution, I'm sorry.
And this is for the temporary road closing that goes along with the 5K run.
Gotcha. All right. Is there a motion to read Resolution 2023-01 by short title?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Resolution 2023-1, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Keystone Heights, Florida, authorizing the execution of a Florida Department of Transportation temporary road closing permit application, providing for an immediate effective date.
You've heard the resolution short title. Is there a motion to pass?
I make that motion.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0. We are to a graduation party with alcohol. Any questions? I did have a question. I'm going to hopefully think that this is for a college graduate.
That's what I was.
Oh, is that you? Come
Okay.
on up. I was looking at this like, this is going to be fun, but what if it's a high schooler? Or an eighth grade graduation? Who are we celebrating?
Just for the parents.
Celebrate me, it's my graduation.
Oh, yeah, congratulations.
Thank you.
It's a great opportunity.
What school?
University of Florida, Levin College of Law.
Well, there you
Oh.
go. You're among some friends here.
By about
Yeah.
35 years. Congratulations.
Okay, so we're glad you're here. Thank you for clarifying that. Is there a motion to approve the graduation party? You have questions?
Second.
Oh, there you go.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, motion passes 5-0.
Go Gators.
Go Gators. You can say that with more enthusiasm next time. We are at a baby shower with alcohol. All right.
It's a co-ed shower, so I'm hoping the alcohol will and so it's just gonna be a few beers and a mimosa bar, mimosa bar.
A mimosa bar.
Yes, that's where that's coming from.
Happy Mimosas.
Yes.
Is there a motion? Any questions? I should probably ask for questions. No questions. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, motion passes 5-0. Have a great time.
Thank you.
We hope you enjoy the pavilion. We're at the Keystone Heights Heritage Committee Mother's Day. Is there somebody representing Ms. Deirdre Murphy? Would you like to share?
Yes. Hold on, where was I here? Good evening, Deirdre Murphy. I'm co-chair temporarily for the Heritage Commission. Keep in mind, that is temporary. I'm here today to talk about two events, actually. The Heritage Commission has an event planned for, similar to what we did last year, the Saturday before Mother's Day, where we will have a walking tour of homes, and we will be meeting at the pavilion. That is on Saturday, May 13th, and we have the dates and times in our application. Secondly, we have another event where we're going to be helping to educate the students of Keystone Heights about Keystone history and their heritage at a young age, so we're getting fifth graders. And that event will be scheduled at the pavilion as well, and that will be on Thursday, April 6th.
Excellent. So let's take the first event, the Mother's Day. Is there a motion to approve?
And there will be no alcohol in either of these two events.
Well, you're not going to have the best attendance, okay? I'm just telling you.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Awesome. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, motion passes 5-0. And for the field trip, this is a great idea. Love this idea.
Thank you all.
Is there a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Y'all have a fantastic time. And in between is the Clay County Tourism event. Ms. Rakowski?
Yes, Madam Mayor, I have been approached by Clay County Tourism for another beach event that they'll actually be learning more details on tomorrow for a walkthrough. However, this event will take place the week of, I think it's May 31st through June 7th. It'll be a week-long event. It's going to be larger than MotoSurf. They're planning on bringing in some big rigs and lots of billboards and things of that nature. So it's just an approval to go ahead and reserve the beach and all the surrounding areas like we do for MotoSurf for that time.
Okay. You've heard the explanation. Are there any questions?
I'll make a motion, we accept.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, motion passes 5-0. All right. In the consent agenda, we'll include the financials of December 2022, the payables of December 2022, and the minutes for the January meeting. Is there a motion to move the entire agenda?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. Is there a second? Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, motion passes 5-0. Canvassing, that's easy for someone else to say. Canvassing board, Ms. Rakowski?
I have had 2 inquiries come into City Hall about an application and then one possibly over the phone. However, I still do not have a candidate, an applicant for the canvassing board. With that being said, I spoke with Supervisor of Elections, Mr. Chris Chambliss, today. The only date that's going to be needed is going to be on Election Day, which is going to be April 11th, to go through ballots, and then quite possibly, if for whatever, well, not even that, there will not be a runoff, so it'll be just April 11th. So I do need somebody, a resident, that serves on our canvassing board for the city of Keystone Heights.
Will that be necessary if we approve item F7, mail ballot election?
It'll be necessary even if we approve
Either way.
item, yes. Somebody, we need a canvassing board from the city to go through those ballots with supervisors of elections office.
Okay.
So I've had a couple of inquiries, but I don't have any paperwork yet.
All right, city business, new business. Florida League of Cities dinner.
Yes, Madam Mayor, we talked about the Florida League of Cities dinner. Our date has been moved to May 18th instead of April 20th because of Moto Surf and then also being Clay Day. With that being said, there's been conversations on venue. The conversations have been very favorable that when we had it last year at the beach. The issue is, of course, alcohol. So I wanted to bring that to council to make sure that we had that conversation. The Florida League of Cities is not favorable for us having it at the beach without the ability to have beer and wine with dinner. So I can look for another venue. We've had conversations with the airport of possibly having it out there with it, but I leave that up to council.
Well, we can combine this really with item C a little bit, right?
We can. So item C, Independence Day events, discussion on events. Big conversation that we've had now that the city's taken this over is if there's going to be a street dance and if we could please have a street dance. And council's very much aware of this conversation. It's come in front of council a couple of times of a street dance being located at Keystone Beach. We do not have an ordinance that supports alcohol at the beach. And so those are conversations that I wanted to make sure that council is aware as we move through this on why it's not happening there and bring it up for any kind of conversation or discussion, or we can, again, choose different venues.
So my thought on that is, as long as it's a city-sponsored event, something that we're organizing, something that, we know that we can have public safety in mind about that we need to give staff, the materials and the permissions they need to put on a really first-class event. That's my thoughts.
I have a question to council. Is there anything in our ordinance that says if it's a city event, we are waived for the requirement of consuming only in the pavilion?
I don't think so. I think you have a strict prohibition.
I think so too.
I was trying to look that up while we're on.
Yep.
I would be against having a street dance there for that reason. Because you're going to end up with some enforcement problems, I'm afraid.
Okay. My opinion is, because I was pretty much advocate about keeping it in the pavilion. And yes, I sit on that board for the League of Cities, and that is a concern, because everywhere they go for dinners, there's alcohol. You get 2 tickets, and that's your supposedly limit. my concern about doing that inside the beach, I have a hard time giving ourselves permission to do something like that, and we don't give permission to other people to do the same thing. On the street dance, would love to see it back here. Been involved in the street dance and 4th of July for many years. One of the biggest at one time was the moneymaker was the beer sales. Past several years, that's not a sale. I mean, they don't really make that much money because people bring their own stuff. And even if we had it here, I mean, it's open, people are gonna bring it. So I don't have a problem having the street dance here, but I do have a problem of opening up the alcohol to the parking lot. The other thing, if there's a way we could, with the League of Cities, one side of me, I'm good with locking down the place, and it's only us, the League of Cities, and the beach. But then I go back to the other side. Is it fair for us to do it, and we don't give permission for anybody else to do it? So.
Yeah, it would be inconsistent with our ordinance.
Right. I'm just wondering if the airport might be available on May 18th for the dinner.
So if I may, on the conversation with the street dance, one of the questions that we've had is if we can have the street dance and other means besides alcohol, beer and wine or whatever else, and understand that the street dance was designed as a fundraiser to fund the fireworks. And so we have to really start looking at avenues for revenue, or avenues for funding for the fireworks. And I don't see the capability of putting on a street dance without being able to bring in additional fundraising or additional revenue for the fireworks. At some point in time, we're just throwing another party as opposed to bringing in funds to help fund the fireworks. And that it's going to be more cost effective for us not to have it at the beach or for us not to have it at all than for us to have it at the beach without a way to raise those funds.
Perhaps a private venue could host it on its own, and we could work out a cost-sharing arrangement of some type, a profit-sharing arrangement.
I don't see any other groups jumping out there saying, I'll do it. That's the problem.
And that's fine. Like I said,
It's a lot of work.
Yes.
I wanted to have those conversations because it's been a conversation that I've had with individual council members of, can we have it at the beach? We love having it at the beach. The Florida League of Cities. It is really nice to be able to invite people into our city limits and show off our beach. However, it's a deal breaker with the beer and wine for the Florida League of Cities dinner. And then the other was just a conversation of, we've talked about it for years, of bringing the street dance back to the city of Keystone Heights. And so there's some pros and cons with that. However, bringing it back into the city limits of Keystone Heights and it being hosted by the city, we can't host an event outside of the city limits. The city cannot. And it doesn't become beneficial if we don't have a mechanism to raise funds for the fireworks. So I just wanted to bring that to the council's attention. We can, again, seek another venue for the Florida League of Cities Dinner if that's...
Sounds like that's what you're going to do.
Okay. That's all I have on those two items, Madam Mayor.
All right. Let's move to item D, CRA grant approval. We approved it in our CRA meeting. I don't know that we need to discuss it anymore. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, motion passes 5-0. Item E.
Yes, Madam Mayor, as soon as I get those dates from our engineer, I'll be able to get them out to you for our workshops. The plan is we'll have 2 public workshops, and then we'll have a long, probably half-a-day workshop with council to discuss the findings, and then the plan moving forward for our ecotourism plan.
Any questions? Awesome. All right, and Ms. Rakowski, your next item, the mail ballot election.
Yes, in your packets, you have the cost breakdown that was provided by Mr. Chris Chambliss for the mail ballot for this election only, because we do not have candidates on this ballot, and it's just for our charter amendments. They're looking at the cost effectiveness or the cost savings for having a mail ballot versus voting in person. And so I leave this decision completely up to council, and if you want to do a mail ballot only inside the city limits of Keystone Heights, you have the cost breakdown. Or if you want to have our city take part in one of the great experiences of coming to the polls and being able to vote. It is less expensive to do a mail ballot. We can provide at an additional cost a return, a return address stamped envelope inside, so to help secure those that'll come back. Those funds, each envelope would be charged as they come back, so we wouldn't be, it's not like we put a postage stamp on each envelope.
Thoughts, council?
If we can save the taxpayers $1,000, I'd rather just do it mail, since it's not to a seat, it's just simply questions. You might also get a better turnout or response if you mail it out rather than require them to come down and vote here.
Any other thoughts?
I'm not one to just do this mail ballot stuff. But under the circumstances, since there is no, we don't have an election as to a seat, and it's something that is to do with the charter, it would give the people an opportunity to maybe read up a little better, and it'd be because one of my questions was going to be, what are we doing about a PR kind of thing about the charter? I mean, it's not been in the paper as line by line. I mean, and how are we going about the people knowing it? And it might be doing the mail just for this one time. I'm not in favor of doing it every election. But this is not, to me, this is not an election. This is just for the charter.
This wouldn't set a precedent for elections when we actually are voting for a person or persons. This is just
Is
just
this a
for
one-time?
charter ordinance. Mhm.
This is a one-time.
One and done.
Okay. I'm okay with that.
Okay, is there a motion?
So moved.
Second?
The motion has to call for a special mail-in ballot on the day of election for this upcoming Super Tuesday election.
We'll look to the attorney down there. You want to frame that motion for us down there?
That came from our supervisor. I would take credit for that.
City attorney has made a reference to the rules. It's part of the record. I will approve or suggest that we approve the motion with that language incorporated.
Mr. Brown, can you second that?
I'll second that.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, motion passes 5-0. And we're moving right along. Not as bad as I thought it was going to be. Okay, key to the city, Mr. Brown.
Council, Madam Mayor, when we started this key to the city, it was very good. I didn't know we were going to do it every month, and I have a concern about maybe it's getting a little bit regular, that we might want to.
I only have 2 more months, one more agency.
Okay, but as the rest of us, I don't want to see us giving every month, giving the key to somebody. I mean, let's expand it out. I mean, it could be, and this goes for now until whenever. I mean, we've never really gave out a lot of keys. I mean, and it's good to recognize people, but it's kind of like it's gotten regular. Maybe spread it out a little bit. But you got 2 more months.
I got 2 more months
Okay.
and 1 more agency.
Okay,
Okay?
all right.
All right.
I agree with you, Tom, on that. I think that we were all asked to nominate people for that award, and I haven't seen anybody. I mean, I have a problem with the way it's been chosen, because we all nominated somebody. We were not given the chance to vote as a council on who got it.
Okay, but all the people that you nominated were sent to me.
Okay,
So that is approval.
and, okay. Oh, I didn't know that, because I haven't seen anybody that I nominated.
Well, everybody, Lynn sent me a list.
Okay.
So if it was on the list, I have been going through the list.
Well, I just feel like it should be a decision that everybody makes.
And that's why I asked for your thoughts, because we weren't filtering anybody's list. We were
Okay.
saying
Okay,
everybody's lists are good.
okay.
I would have preferred to have seen the names of who were being considered in advance, rather than just being told at a meeting, this is who we're going to vote for. I generally have agreed who we have voted for. Tonight was sort of an aberration, and you know why. But we did it because it was your mood, and I think it was generally the right thing to do for the organization.
Yes.
But it would have been nice to have had a chance to voice our opinion, maybe in writing to the city manager in advance, before we just show up and see who's going to get a key. I think we need to screen it. Tony, am I misstating your position on that?
No, sir.
Okay.
I agree, that's one.
Yeah.
And it's not, I mean, this is for
Nothing
future
against it.
mayors. I mean, future council. I mean, I don't want it, it's not just for the next couple of months. This would be for, till we have a council that says, no, we want to give it every month. I mean, but for right now, I mean, I think that we need to just pull back a little bit and be more, not every month. So
Would you want to skip next month?
2 months.
I'm on a, she's got 2 more months. So I would,
Professional courtesy and
but
maintain it.
from thenceforward, we don't do it every month.
We haven't done it, we didn't do it every month, just in the last couple of months, the last few. I mean, it hasn't been a regular thing like over the last 5 years. So, yeah, there
Oh,
are people.
no, it hasn't been for your whole term here.
Right.
No.
So what I'm sharing is these are people that I've
Right.
worked with over 5 years, some of them quite extensively.
Mhm.
And, you know, I feel like everyone who works in our community needs to be recognized at some point in time. I think we all do. But yeah, 2 more months, 1 more agency, and you guys can do whatever you want. All right,
Mr. Mayor,
yeah,
I don't necessarily agree. You always need to thank the people that are special, that have really gone above board. And there's still a lot of people out there.
yeah.
So let's don't, just after you leave, let's don't just forget about it.
I'm not saying to forget about it, I'm just saying not every month, every council meeting.
All I'm saying is if we've got that many people that are really above board and doing excellent jobs, hey, they need it. And if it, you don't have anybody that month, I'm not saying to do it just because we do it.
We're not doing it right now just to do it.
Exactly.
I don't feel like we're doing it right now just to do it. I feel like these are people who, through the pandemic and through time, I mean, Joanna's been in the community 10 years.
Yeah.
And that's a long time to serve a community,
Yes.
and especially a group of people who don't have as much as we do. So, yes, I understand the specialty of it, which is why I've tried to treat it with respect and say nice things about the people who we've acknowledged. I just think it's important.
Just from a personal level, my motion to approve the resolution was made in the context of the organization. I don't know Joanna. I don't know what her board is. I don't know how it operates. But I do recognize that organization has done good things.
Yeah, absolutely.
It wasn't a personal endorsement of anybody.
Right,
And that's for the record.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Committee meetings. I don't believe I have anything for budget and finance, Mr. Kowski?
No, Madam Mayor, we'll be meeting later this month.
Okay. Growth management.
No report.
Chairman Kirkland.
Well, good evening again, Madam Mayor and council members. The airport began its first FAA FDOT improvement project last month for the 2023 year. It's a taxi lane rehabilitation project. It's a $1.3 million project, and it started a couple of weeks ago. It's going to run through the end of July. We also began a project this spring which will upgrade our runway 1129 lighting. At the present time, we do not have landing lights on that. A NOTAM is out there stating that for pilot's information. This project is 100% funded by the FDOT for approximately $800,000. Ms. Searcy, along with our airport engineer, Bill Prang, and I, we're going to be meeting with FAA and FDOT February 23rd. That meeting is to review our 5-year project plan, all of those that have been on the list, and then those that are being revised, and then those that are going to be added out 5 years. That's coming up shortly. The environmental assessment, EA, for our West Side project through the DEO grant project was kicked off in June of 2020. And thankfully, it's approaching its final stages of completion. Ms. Searcy has requested a stakeholders meeting for mid-February to discuss the next steps. And that's going to involve MHD Rockland as well as other potential commercial folks that will be occupying that west side part of the airport. Ms. Searcy and I attended the Bradford County Commission meeting on January the 19th to update them on the progress of the EA and to thank them for their continued support through this project. The impact of this fund or the impact of this future development will have a great impact on our airport in both counties. Although we have more work to do, the Keystone Heights Airport Authority and staff values the combined efforts in making this development a reality. There's a lot of work going into working with county manager for Bradford County as well as their staff, their road department. We'll be doing the roads within the airport there. So a lot of coordination, a lot of logistics, and we appreciate everyone involved in making this thing come to a reality. Ms. Searcy, Ms. Ratowski, and I met a couple of weeks ago and began working on 2 appropriations requests. There's a request in the amount of $3 million for the additional access road from Airport Road into the West Side development. This project will include turn lanes on State Road 100. And the second appropriations request is a $30 million request for the design and construction of CCUA connectivity. We'll be wrapping up those requests prior to the deadline, that is February 13th. We anticipate several training flights this month with MHD Rockland as they're working on 2 contracts, and those countries are with Germany and Greece. We are scheduled to host the IAC Aerobatic Snowbird Contest at the airport from March 23rd through the 25th. If weather cooperates, we anticipate around 30 aircraft competing all weekend. It's a competition, so therefore safety is of utmost importance, and spectators will be asked to view from the outside of the fenced area. The feasibility study update, that was something that in my conversations with each of you earlier, the city had given money toward that feasibility study. The airport had included money in that study. So here's the update. The work to date includes review of the master plan and West Side Industrial Park development plans, particularly the MHD Rockland area, and calculation of future potable water demand, future wastewater flows, and future fire protection water demands. The existing CCUA water system and wastewater system capacities have been reviewed and evaluated as the likely points of connection for the future airport utility system. 2 technical memos have been prepared for the airport and city manager review, and both have been submitted to CCUA for their review and concurrence. The current work includes preliminary layouts for future water and wastewater systems on the airport. And we also want to say special thanks again to the City Council for its portion of funding for this feasibility study. So that is wrapping up, and we'll continue to bring you updates as that happens. There's a new addition to the ATPT that I'll be providing, and the intent is to inform existing and new council persons with information about the various positions and responsibilities of directors on the Keystone Heights Airport Authority Board. This month, we'll highlight major responsibilities of the chairperson. So the chairperson is the chief executive officer of the Keystone Heights Airport Authority, and in general supervises and controls all the business and affairs of the authority. He or she presides at all of the meetings of the authority and is an ex officio member of all committees without a vote unless required to resolve a vote outcome ending with a tie. He or she may sign with other proper officers or officer of the authority authorized by the members of the authority any instruments which the members of the authority have authorized to be executed. He or she in general performs all duties incident to the office of the chairperson and other duties that may be prescribed by the members of the authority. The chairperson provides monthly updates to the Keystone Heights City Council of activities and projects occurring at the airport. The chairperson, in conjunction with the airport manager, are the main liaisons to city and county commissions, FAA, FDOT, and other local entities. The chairperson is elected annually by the members of the authority and served for a period of 1 year. The chairperson can be removed by majority vote of the members of the authority whenever, in its judgment, the best interest of the authority would be served with their removal. And so next month I will include the duties and responsibilities of our vice chairperson. Any questions?
Council? Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. Planning and zoning, Ms. Rakowski?
We have been in contact with Popeye's Chicken, and they are looking to get their final permit approval from the county within the next couple of weeks, so we should be starting to see some groundbreaking happening over there. And
Fantastic.
that's all I have at the moment.
Okay, thank you. Heritage Commission, co-chair.
We have really nothing else to report. We have the 2 events that are coming up in April and in May. And of course, we will be meeting every single month. But we have basically used almost all of our funds with those 2 events. And so until we receive the next budget, we will be out of projects.
Work yourself out of a job right there.
We have basically, no, we appreciate all of the funds that you have given us, because there has been a good increase since previous. And because of that, we've been able to really serve the community much better, and bringing the history of this community and all that it has to offer to the city. And the awareness has been greatly improved of what Keystone's history has been in the past, and we want to, like we said earlier, we want to show that the children in Keystone Heights why we're so proud of where we live. And so we're including adding, education to this, having an impact in our community by encouraging the kids to get involved as well.
Nice, very nice.
Okay, thank you all.
Thank you. Council comments. I'll start with Mr. Hart.
First of all, Deidre, thank you for stepping up and agreeing to be the interim co-chair, along with Kerry Collins. And Nina, thank you for your services as chair of the commission. The comment that I have regarding the airport, I think I hinted at earlier. I view all this as a matter of not personality but process, and I think out of fairness to all concerned, I think it would be good to reopen the process and give each person and or their supporters, say, a maximum of 10 minutes at our next meeting to make a presentation and then revote. So based on that, I make a motion to reopen and reconsider our chair or seat 2 appointment of last month. That's my motion.
Is there a second? Seeing no second, motion fails. Any other comments? Mr. Hart?
No, that's it. Thank you.
Ms. Thompson? Mr. Brown? Mr. Brown?
This one, okay. The only thing I have is the Florida League of Cities, dinners. It's nice to go to these, but a lot of these other cities have more than one council person going. So this month, I believe it's in Stark. It would be nice to see us fill a table and show our support. And I know some of these are a distance. And I don't know how that goes with carpooling, if we can carpool or whatever. But because of that sunshine law. But it would be nice to see more of us there other than my old face.
You can carpool together, just
Talk about golf.
We can talk about Jimmy Buffett.
Well, I think you have play day. I mean, it happens for play day where people have to.
Right. I'm willing to drive.
I'm already going
Okay.
to start.
Okay. Thank you. That's all I got.
All right. I have no comments this evening. Ms. Rakowski?
I just have a couple. So we mentioned the Florida League of Cities dinner. Yes, it is in Stark. I know that Ms. Minks has sent out the invite. Please make sure that you respond to her so we can get you RSVP'd. I will not be able to go there because I will be heading to Daytona with 12 seniors that day. So,
Sounds like a ton of fun.
not sure which one I'd rather be at. Clay Day this year is going to be April 19th and 20th. We're doing things a little bit differently, and so I'll be sending out emails to all members individually as we start making our reservations for it. But we'll be having a large reception on the courtyard on the 19th. And then instead of everybody coming down to us as we've done in the past, we're going up to them. So we get to go through our Clay County's lobbyists. We get to make meetings with those who make the decisions and talk about what's important to us and make sure that we thank them for everything that they've done for our community, because they have done a lot. With that being said, the next item, we've already talked about the feasibility study that's been submitted to CCUA. Mr. Johnson has gotten back and he'll be reviewing that within the next coming weeks. We're hoping to wrap that up come May or June, that will be completed with the feasibility study completely. And then my last item is my heart breaks for the resignation of the email that I got a couple weeks ago of Miss Searcy, who's going to be no longer going to be our airport manager. So I want to bring that to council because it is very, very sad. And though I applaud her and her decision, and I understand that it's hard, Maria and I have been at the airport and at the city doing this together since we both started there. And she's a fantastic asset to our community. She's a wonderful person to know, and I'm going to miss her like crazy. So.
I think a lot of people will miss you. It certainly has served the airport well. Thank you for that. All right. Any other business to come?